Well, Nikon fans, I've got some very good news. The camera to be announced at Nikon's scheduled event on May the 10th at 8 a.m. in the morning is 100% confirmed to be the Nikon Z8. I've got all the details coming up after this short break, but first, please do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, but most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps this channel grow. Let's help me get to 40K. I'm just about 200 subs away. Nikon registered the Nikon Z8 as you can see here. There's no code name, no cryptic model number, and the image isn't blurred out of recognition. But it's sharp, crisp, and readable without needing to perform some sort of Photoshop dark magic. It's all courtesy of the National Radio Research Agency, and we've got all the information right here. Can you believe that the Nikon Z8 was registered back on May the 2nd and we're only just finding out now? And that takes us to just 2 sleeps away. 2 sleeps until we get the announcement of the Nikon Z8. Now, in terms of the photos of this camera, we really don't have anything that's, well, credible at this point. We've seen so many images, so many faked images that are of such a poor resolution that are blurry and, well, have been proven to be fake. In terms of pricing, well, we've also got faked pricing on the Nikon Z8 several times to the point where Nikon Rumors has 3 question marks concerning the price. Now, for me, here's where I think the price range is going to fall. Assuming that it has the Nikon Z9 sensor and image processor, and that sensor is a stacked sensor, well then I'm going to predict that the price is going to be somewhere between $38.99 and $42.99. Now, if it doesn't have that stacked sensor that, well, has been rumored for some time now, and I'll get into why I think it could potentially not, well, I think the price would be very different, somewhere between $33.99 and $39.99. So that's the pricing. I think that makes an awful lot of sense. All we have to do is take a look at what's currently on the market. The Canon EOS R5 and the Sony A7 R5, they're both priced at $3,900. But the specifications, and I talked about this in a weekend summary video, and people thought that I bought it hook, line, and sinker, that these are the leaked specifications for the Nikon Z8. But no, the only thing we know 100%, and then I'll get to the specifications, is this. Nikon has a scheduled event for Wednesday, May the 10th at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's 8 a.m. in the morning, just 2 sleeps away. And we're getting the announcement of the Nikon Z8. And that's what this video is about, is the confirmation of the registered camera that it's the Nikon Z8, and that's coming this Wednesday. So Nikon's letting us know, yep, you know what, guys, it's out there. This is what we're doing. But the only question is, and the main reason to tune in on Wednesday morning is, well, we're not 100% sure about the specifications. And why do I say that? Well, first of all, I want to do a shout out to Nikon Rumors. I think they've done a terrific job of covering not only the Nikon Z8, but also the Nikon Z9. But this time around, the photos have been proven to be fakes, and we've received so many photos. And also not just the photos, but also pricing. So that leads me to believe, are we so confident about the specifications? Now, here's what I think. I'm not going to go into all the details about 20 frames per second, 120 frames per second at 11 megapixels, dual CF Express Type B card slots versus a single CF Express Type B and a single UHS 2 card slot. I think it's pretty safe to say that the Nikon Z8 is going to go right up against the Canon EOS R5, a 3-year-old camera, and the Sony A7 R5, and you can quote me on this here. I think it's going to be much closer to the Canon EOS R5 than the Sony A7 R5. And the main reason I say that is, by just having a single Type B CF Express card in there, that means that this thing can shoot a whole lot faster, continuous shooting, 20 frames per second lossless RAW at 1.2 gigabytes per second, or around 30 frames per second JPEG, and all the way up to 120 frames per second at 11 megapixels if they copy the specs right off the Nikon Z9. ISO range, dynamic range should be improved if it gets a stacked sensor. I'm not willing to get too excited at this point because we haven't really received any leaked and validated specifications. Now, Nikon Rumors has been doing a good job of coming out with new updated specifications, but they haven't really tooted how these are 100%, unlike this certification or the event. So I'm a little bit curious. I'm a little bit curious as to what we're going to see in this leaked set of specifications. And the one question I want to ask you is, if you, now whether you own Nikon gear or not, if you were the president of Nikon, what would you turn out, what would you make the Nikon Z8 be? Who would it be aimed at? Videographers, photographers, or somewhere in between? What specifications, or more importantly, what capabilities would you give this camera? And if you're excited about the possibilities of what Nikon can bring to the Z8, if you're a Canon EOS R5 fan, well, this is good news because it spurs up competition. And if you're a Sony fan, well, this speeds up or spurs up competition if you're looking at the A9 Mark III or the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II or any other cameras that Sony's coming out with. This is good news. We want to see the Nikon Z8 to be better than the Canon EOS R5, and to be honest, well, it should be. I mean, after 3 years. And all we have to do is look to the Nikon Z9 to know that it's certainly plausible. But there is one question I want to answer. Some of you have said, there's no way that the Z8 is going to be better than the Z9. Well, poppycock, rubbish, it's ridiculous. Canon released the R5, and when they did, it was light years ahead of the Canon 1DX Mark III. But yes, now the buffer on the 1DX Mark III was certainly faster, but the Canon EOS R5 was no slouch. In terms of video, it beat it. In terms of resolution, refresh rates, it beat it. In terms of updated sensors and all that, and autofocus system, it beat it there too. I could go through a list of stuff. The Z9 came out about 2 years ago. There's no reason why Nikon wouldn't come out with a Nikon Z8 that's better than the Z9 in some capabilities. But when it comes to that raw speed, that faster buffer, for those people that are shooting for the magazine covers, high-grade fashion where they need fast, continuous shooting, 45 megapixels, there's nothing beating the Nikon Z9. It's got dual CF Express Type B card slots. It's got a much faster buffer and all that kind of stuff. Longer battery life matters a lot. And yes, even if it was just those elements there, that's more than enough to justify a $1,500 price difference. But still, we don't know leak specifications. I'm going to be staying on top of things here tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more leaks. But usually what happens is on the eve of a major announcement like this, if we don't have validated leak specs already, well, they usually get leaked some night before, usually the day before. Sometimes, like I said tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if more information comes out. But I'm expecting by tomorrow night, around this time tomorrow night, we'll definitely get a full leaked set of specifications, maybe even a press release being leaked. And finally, maybe a photo we can rely on. Or do you think Nikon's going to do a really good job of just keeping everything on the hush-hush until the presentation at 8 a.m. in the morning? And if you want to catch that, what I suggest is get up an extra hour early, because I'm going to be doing my very own live stream 1 hour before, where we're going to talk about the latest leak specifications, photos, everything, all Nikon Z8. I'm going to have special guests on the panel, Chuck from AP Studios. I might even have Craig Blair from Canon Rumors. And we're going to talk about what this means for the Nikon community, the Canon community, and the market as a whole. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to cover the event live. And once the event is over, I'm going to have some other guests on, and this is still a work in motion because there's an embargo dates, so I won't know 100% until the day of whether I'll have somebody or not. But the way it's looking, I'm doing my best. I've got some feelers out there to maybe have a couple of people who've already got this mystery camera that's supposed to be announced, the Nikon Z8, on May the 10th, to come on and talk about it. So we'll talk about all the rumors, up to date, have a lot of fun, wait for the announcement, get the confirmation of what's going to be out, and then talk to people who have the hands-on. And that's my plan for the live stream. And it'll go at least an hour and a half, maybe 2. It just depends on if you're engaged, if you find this interesting enough. So I've already got this video scheduled as an event for Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Toronto and New York time, 1 hour before the actual announcement. So I'm pretty excited by that. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest camera news and rumors, specifically all things Nikon, like the Nikon Z8, then go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you choose all notifications. And for all the other minor news and rumors, things that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, or pricing information such as $400 off the Nikon Z7 Mark II, $300 off the Nikon Z6 Mark II, and of course we got like $500 off the Canon EOS R5, the R3, the R5C is only $400 off, but some of those you're getting like a free battery grip with it as well. There's some amazing deals out there. So go ahead and follow me on The Ordinary Filmmaker on Twitter. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. And if you're waiting to pre-order the Nikon Z8, then use my smart pre-order links, because as soon as the pre-order links are opened up on Adorama and B&H, these smart links will show you all the options for the Nikon Z8, body alone, kit packages, and other things. So yeah, if you want to use these, copy them down, bookmark them, and then on the day, as soon as we get the announcement, I hope Nikon doesn't tease us. I hope that as soon as they give the announcement, right after the conclusion of that announcement, the pre-order links will be live. Other companies have teased us by not making the pre-order available till about 12 hours later. That's not cool. I mean, we're getting up early or staying up late to catch the announcement. We want those links to be available right at the announcement or just afterwards. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.